Welcome to another Mississauga market snapshot. We're looking at the numbers today from June of 2024. As usual, starting with all property types, there were 552 sold properties. That's down 19% versus this time last year. I also would like to take a look at the terminated, suspended, and expired listings. There were 804 for the month, and that's up 43% versus this time last year. And of course, properties can be terminated and relisted multiple times. So something to keep in mind in this number as well, but still a pretty big jump there at 43%. Continuing with all property types, the average list to sold ratio is 99%. That's down 3% versus this time last year. Average property days on market is 33 for the city of Mississauga. That's up 74%. And just like with all my other videos, this is property days on market, not listing days. So I spoke about properties being terminated and relisted. Listing days just averages out all the numbers, even with multiple properties being relisted. Whereas property days takes into consideration the terminated and the relisted property, expired and relisted, and that type of thing, to give us a more accurate number on what the average days on market for a property will be. Median sold price stayed pretty even versus June of last year, ending at $998,500. Condo Apartments for June, list to sold price is down 1%, ending at 99. Average listing days on market, so I just explained the difference between listing and property days. So the average listing days is 28. The actual property days will be much higher. It's just the board doesn't give us those numbers for each individual property type. And that's up 75% year over year. And the median sold price, again, fairly flat, ending at $600,000. With Condo Townhomes, list to sold price is 100%, and that's down 4% versus this time last year. Average listing days on market is 22. That's up 69%. And the median sold price down 6%, ending at $797,500. Turning to Freehold Townhomes, the list to sold price is 103%. That's down 4% year over year. Average listing days on market is 13. That's up 117%. This time last year, it was like 6 days on market. And 13 days on market is still not bad, all things considered. So really don't want anyone getting hung up on this number here. Median sold price for freehold towns also down 6%, ending at $1,010,000. Semi-detached properties list to sold price is sitting at 103% on average. That's actually down 3%. 14 days on market is the average. That's up only 27%. Median sold price ending at $999,999, and that's down 6% versus last year as well. And ending with the detached homes, list to sold price is 98%. That's down 3%. Average days on market is 19. That's up 46%. And the median price, like those others, down 6% and ending at $1,383,400. So the numbers are telling us that there's still quite a bit of activity out there. Days on market are not that bad, all things considered. When you start heading in, that 2-3 month territory of property sitting on market, that's when you should start to worry. But a lot of properties still moving very quickly, all things considered, and some are sitting longer than usual. 99% of the time, it comes down to the pricing. Buyers are out there, and it's important to remember at the end of the day, they're the ones cutting the check. They're the ones getting the mortgage approval from the banks as well. So if they don't think a property is worth what is being asked, they're not going to go for it. And you may think you could negotiate down. A lot of times, buyers are scrolling through homes that their realtors are sending, or they're doing it themselves, just like they're scrolling through social media. If the price seems too high, they're not even going to go bother to see it and say, well, maybe the seller is willing to negotiate it. Chances are that most of the time, they're just going to keep on scrolling by because they don't have the desire to want to go through the process of haggling and negotiating and back and forth and late nights and potentially having it going nowhere. So the buyer mentality, they want to work with sellers who are reasonable. And that's why we see some properties go in 3-4 days and other properties sell after months of sitting or just not at all. If you watch my other video for the L5H area, the detached homes, for example, have a 15% chance of selling right now in the market according to the June numbers. So for anyone thinking of selling or they tried to sell and couldn't, the main question becomes, you want to sell or not sell? And that's really what it comes down to. And setting those expectations on what's actually happening in the market, not the agent who says they're going to save you a ton of money on commission, because that really doesn't mean anything if the property doesn't sell anyways. Now, the next agent you hire is going to have to make up for that because the history of properties is all saved in the MLS. And if the property had been sitting for a long time, the agents and their clients are going to see that. And that's just as bad as hiring an agent who simply tells you what you want to hear. Again, there's always exceptions to the rule when you're dealing with unique and luxury type properties. If there is data that's pointing to a certain price that your property should be worth, market value, and you decide to go much, much higher than that, well, then you already know chances are it's probably not going to sell. And if there's no data to support the type of home and it's just kind of going to wing it and see what happens, well, then you know probably after a month, month and a half, 2 months max, if it's not sold, you know where the problem is. It's in the pricing. But that's a whole other topic for another day. If you are thinking of selling or you tried to sell and couldn't, let me know. Let's have that conversation. At this current time, I have a 100% list to sold ratio since I've been licensed at the end of 2017. And that's because I have these types of conversations with the owners. And at the end of the day, if our ideas and strategies aren't coming together, well, then I simply don't list the property. A lot of people will call me crazy because advertising is advertising, because you can have a listing, you can get buyer contacts from that, which you can then take to other properties. And you could probably get a few deals out of a property that just sits there that you know will never sell. That's some people's strategy. That's not mine. Another topic for another day. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe if you haven't already, comment below, and I will see you on the next video.